Hi, everyone. I'm Maria Granovsky, and I'm a medical writer. And together with Jen, we are Write and Prosper, and we coach other medical writers who want to build a thriving, sustainable business.
And hi, I'm Jennifer Gregg. I'm also a medical writer. Together with Maria, we started Write and Prosper. And over the years, been developing courses and also coaching programs to help people grow their freelance medical writing businesses.
And so today we want to talk about the number one problem that people come to us with, and that is they want more clients, right? So I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to create this diagram about this um, process that we have developed for building this kind of uh, writing business. So the number one issue that people have a problem with is clients and work. They don't have enough work. Um, and we've noticed three specific big problems that cause this issue that stops them from having the kind of business that they want. So, the number one issue that we always see is lack of confidence. And I apologize for my handwriting. Um, and specifically, lack of technical confidence, right? It's just this sense of um, they may be really great writers, they may be very high subject matter experts, but they're not sure that they can deliver the kind of writing that clients expect, and they don't know if they can give the kind of service that clients want. Would you say that's the problem? That's a problem that you see a lot, Jen?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, this was certainly an issue that I dealt with when I first started freelance writing, and it's just really difficult to market yourself confidently when you don't have that confidence in your abilities and what you're capable of doing. And I think I've often felt that clients can really pick up on that, especially in those initial conversations. So if you come across as being a confident person, a confident writer, you kind of know what to expect and the client relationship. I really think that helps to put the client at ease. But then conversely, if you aren't feeling that way, because you're new and maybe you're feeling like you don't quite have the experience yet, I think they will also pick up on that and maybe not feel as uh, confident in you and how you might be able to fulfill the project for them. So, it's really important, I think, initially to help develop that confidence. And again, you just need it. You need it whenever you are going after new clients. And it just makes that whole process a bit easier, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the other thing about it is that I remember when I was first starting and didn't have the kind of confidence that I have now. What ended up happening is I kept going after like lower level clients, right? I just assumed that um, it would be easier to get these kinds of non-ideal clients. And the result was, work I didn't like, clients from hell. Um, and that's the issue too, that you end up with this situation where you're just not doing your own best work, and it's almost like a vicious circle where you're not doing as well as you think you could, and so that confidence isn't building up.
Yeah, I agree absolutely, and I think it's very kind of easy to get into that cycle, and then it's also it's difficult to break out of that cycle because in the end you have to be able to say no to those types of clients in order to leave space for those better clients, and that in of itself can sometimes be a hurdle in the first few years of your business. Again, just kind of trying to figure out, okay, what are the best clients for you, what are the best types of projects for you, etc.
Right. So that's problem number one. Problem number two that we often see is lack of leads and prospects, right? Um, and the issue here is really simple. If clients don't know that you exist, it's really, really hard for them to hire you. Um, but I see a lot of people get bogged down here because they don't know what steps to take, what's the right sequence of things. A lot of people get really bogged down in their website and their logo, et cetera, which has nothing to do with actually getting clients. And the other thing is that they almost try to be um, they kind of buy into the whole passive idea of if I optimize my search engine strategies, then Google will bring me the leads. Or if I just post a lot on LinkedIn, then LinkedIn is going to bring me the leads, etc. And that's not necessarily the very first thing that um, you need to be doing.
Right. Yeah, I agree. We've, in our experience of coaching with people, we've seen that this is a place where people have gotten hung up, and even just in casual conversations with other people that want to break into freelance writing, I've had people say things like, well, I'll get started, but my website is only 80% done, or something like that. So it's almost like it serves as a distraction, which is really, doing the work and needing to do the outreach. And a lot and myself included, again, I didn't understand kind of what that process looks like. And initially, you're going to need to be able to spend quite a bit of time and focus on that prospect in order to kind of generate some strong leads that will eventually turn into paying work. So yeah, again, a lot of people, this is kind of a big question mark. Where are these clients
Right.
hiding? How do I reach out to them? Who do I reach out to? What do I say? Like it literally, it terrifies some people, but
And
once you
it's
get
not
the
a
hang of it,
comfortable,
it's fine.
and honestly, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world for people to just um, be able to reach out and unless you're very kind of I think it doesn't even matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. The idea of reaching out to someone, and if you think that what you're doing is asking for a favor, it's going to be really, really difficult.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of flipping the norm on what most of us are used to, which
Right.
is, we work for an employer,
They
you
give us
have
work.
X, Y, and Z
Right.
projects to do. And this is the complete opposite. In many cases, you're reaching out and saying, hey, I'm here. These are my services that I have available. So yeah, and I think that kind of leads us into the third issue that we often see with people that want to get started in their freelance writing businesses.
Right, which is, for lack of a better term, uncomfortable selling. Yeah. And we get it. Like none of us started in the writing business to become salespeople, but at the end of the day, um, we need to move a potential client through a sales process or a proposal process or a conversation and help them make the hiring decision, right? Because without that, um, you're going to end up with a whole lot of frustration and a whole lot of wasted time. So even if leads are coming in and you're not then converting them into um, actual paying clients, then it's a lot of work, putting together a proposal, getting ready for a phone conversation, and it's not just even time, it's also your emotional investment in it, right? It's just that whole feeling of, oh, somebody's interested, oh, they didn't hire me, right? So that is a process that needs to be, again, something where you are both confident and comfortable.
Right, exactly. And then again, I think it's one of those things that gets easier over time. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll feel, and I think the less intimidating it becomes. But I think the demand for medical writing work is still it's still sky high, honestly, despite the pandemic, despite the recession. So there is definitely still a need. And yes, you still have to go through the process of these things, but companies are definitely interested in hiring qualified people that can do the work. So, in my mind, I always that to me that almost kind of lessens the pressure, because I know, again, it's just such an in demand skill, and we're in an in demand field that's constantly growing. And so again, I think that kind of helps to bring things back into focus and say, you know what, even if this one particular client isn't a good fit, there's going to be other ones. And the whole thing just, we're not talking about being super salesy, like
Right.
a used car salesman, or, someone out there in the street trying to sell mattresses. It's really just a simplified process.
Right. So if these are the problems, then what do the solutions look like? And you're probably going to laugh because they're pretty straightforward. So if the issue is lack of confidence, then the solution is confidence. But I think what we really need is unshakable confidence, right? Because because at the end of the day, freelancing is not for the faint of heart. Honestly, it's you will get dinged, you will get rejected. It's just the name of the game, and it's just a question of what does it take to feel like it doesn't matter, like you're actually good at what you do, and you can actually go out there and market yourself to the clients that are right for you.
Yeah, definitely. And again, some of it is just practice. It's something that it gets easier over time, but there are things that you can do initially to kind of set yourself up for success in the long run.
And we'll talk about that like after we go around the circle here. um, Similarly, if the issue is no leads, then what we really need is a lead generating system. And we really need something that um, will just bring in potential clients on a regular basis and not have that feast or famine kind of situation, which many people are uh, stuck in. And the more you have leads and prospects coming in, the less pressure there is on each one of them then becoming a client, right? Because then you realize that, okay, well, I just have a system in place, and I will be talking to new people tomorrow and the day after and the day after.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've often found too that, and many times, if you can get yourself in a cycle of repeat clients, it also, that kind of all works into the system. So over time, you're not needing to be creating so many leads. It's a little bit heavy in the beginning, and then should lessen over the years, and as you gain more experience.
Right. And again, if the issue here is being uncomfortable in what I call selling conversations, then the solution is an easy and non salesy conversion. of prospects into um, into clients. And again, I think the key word here is non-salesy. It's right. I mean, it's just being able to have a conversation or being able to put a proposal together and showcase your value without sounding like, a mattress salesperson. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Honestly, a lot, as you said it, Maria, a lot of it is just kind of carrying a conversation in the first maybe phone call or two. It's nothing. I've often found, again, it's not even like what you would think of a typical, say, interview experience. You know, some of it is just kind of the client wanting to get to know you a little bit. So yeah, we're definitely, it's very non-salesy.
Right. So, and again, let's break it down a little bit further. So if we want unshakable confidence, then I, in our experience, there are three components to that, right? One is um, knowing your client. Knowing the client and understanding what they want your work product to do for their business. Because at the end of the day, they're not paying you for pretty words. They're actually paying for a certain result. And the more you understand the client's perspective and the more you understand what they want from you, the easier it is to actually provide the work product that they want and the service that they expect.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it is also understanding the pain points of the client. Again, it's just knowing and kind of understanding what's driving them and how you can meet what their needs are. So yeah, I mean, it's really just gaining that understanding of how you can best serve them.
And I think that is something that a lot of freelance writers don't um, internalize until a while later. I think they're so bogged down in this question of, can I write well? Am I a good writer? Do I know the subject matter, etc. There's just so much emphasis on that internal churn that they don't spend the time to think about the client's perspective.
Mhm.
And, at the end of the day, clients are not hiring you to be the next Hemingway. They really aren't. There's like the writing needs to be um, capable, obviously, and good, but that's not what they are actually asking you to do at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. And I think, clients want to work with people that they know, like, and trust. And again, even in a lot of medical writing work, as Maria said, we're not talking about delivering some masterful novel. In many cases, the work is very straightforward. And if you're able to do that, that's great. And if you're able to do that in a way that's pleasant, and you can work well with a team and those sorts of things, those are all kind of bonus points in your favor.
Right. So the other component is samples. And again, samples are obviously important for you to showcase your ability to write a certain thing to the client. But frankly, having the ability to understand the kind of sample that you need and creating it fast will really do a great thing for your own confidence, because now you've just proven to yourself that you can write the thing that you're gonna tell the client that you're gonna write for them.
Yeah, definitely. And, again, this is, I think, a big hang up, that we've seen. Um, Folks that we've worked with in coaching and in the course, they, for instance, in our needs assessment course, that's one of the things that has popped up. They've said, where do I start? How do I create samples? So, it's certainly something that we can help facilitate. Again, I was in the same boat when I first started. I just sort of, I didn't know where to, I didn't know where to start with that. So the samples, again, they don't have to be anything overly complex. We've told previous folks that we've worked with, a couple of pages is probably sufficient.
Right.
People that are hiring you are busy people, so they're not going to sit down and read a 15-page whatever review of topic X. Okay, so sometimes a very short piece is enough to just demonstrate your abilities.
Right. Um, and the last thing is, and we touched upon it because when you know the client and the pain points, um, it's how you deliver your service.
Mhm.
And again, um, just thinking about writing, that is half the battle. You can be a great writer, but if you're not, if you're not respecting deadlines, or if you're not listening to what the client is asking you to do and you're giving them something that they didn't ask for and are really surprised by the thing that is now in front of them, the chances of them being happy customers is very low.
Yeah, absolutely. Meeting deadlines is crucial, especially if you're working with a client with a very large team and you have multiple people involved. Project managers, editing people, graphics people, they also have a deadline at their end for when we have to go through all the stuff, right, with the product that you make before it goes to the clients or review. So yeah, sometimes there's a lot hinging on it. But again, there are other things like being able to handle critiques in a respectful way, and being responsive in a timely manner. There's a lot that goes into it. Again, it kind of to what we spoke to earlier about it not just being about the technical skills. Yes, the writing itself is important, but then there are a whole bunch of other things that can also sort of make or break a client relationship. And so those things are certainly worth learning about and focusing on as well.
So the same thing with the lead generating system. Again, here we see that there are three components to it. One is knowing who to talk to. And there are two elements to that, I think. One is that very often we don't run the numbers, right? We don't think in terms of how many clients do we actually need, and how many leads or outreach do we need, how much outreach do we need to do in order to get that kind of response and get the kind of numbers that we need. So I think understanding the numbers is really crucial. And then the actual, companies and people within companies and how to find them and how to approach them. I think that's really a stumbling block.
Yeah, definitely. Again, years ago when I was getting started, I truly had no idea. Like it was like this black box of who to reach out to, what to say to them, etc. And again, there's a certain amount of effort that needs to be put into this, and this is something that's going to need to take, it's high priority at the early stages of your business.
Right. And that brings us to outreach, right? And that is where a lot of people just they have a huge stumbling block because it's it's hard. It's emotionally very, very difficult to try to get someone to hire you or think about it in that way. And it's not helpful to just say to people, get over it and just do it, right? It's if you're going to have anxiety over this, you're not going to do it. So just understanding again the role of outreach, understanding the need that you're helping fill, understanding how to approach these people and how to write your emails or your messages on LinkedIn, etc. All of that kind of reduces the stress level and allows you to um, just get into a system of doing this all the time.
Yeah, and I think at the other end of it too, it's it's always helpful for me to think about again the from the client's perspective. They sometimes they're reaching out and it's almost an urgent situation in some circumstances. So again, I think kind of keeping that in mind, helps to just sort of ease any anxiety or stress that I might have about an upcoming call. Again, it's just thinking about how you're best serving the clients. And I think for us, at least I feel, it's meaningful work. It's work that definitely has purpose. And so, it just helps to alleviate some of that anxiety in the process. But outreach is, I think what you'll probably see or what you've heard, all over the internet from people in this business. It's something that you should be doing continuously. So yes, it is something where it might be we're going to be spending more time initially, but in order for your business to grow and to keep more of a steady workflow, it's something that you should be doing consistently so that you don't have these ups and downs in business.
Right. And the last part is pipeline building. And that's where the question of your website and content marketing and all of those more passive things come in. And that's where when it makes sense. So once you actually have worked out your outreach strategy and you know the kind of clients you're going after, and you're actually starting to get steady interest and steady work, that's when it makes sense to really optimize your website and think about these more passive ways of getting clients. Because frankly, content strategy, even if you post stuff on LinkedIn every day, it may be 6 months to a year or even more before someone reaches out to you. So
Yeah, yeah,
if you have the
definitely.
time to wait, sure, but if not, that's not the first thing on the list.
Yeah, and I think people are kind of coming around to this. A few years ago, it was all about blogging, and you should be blogging, and I kept thinking, I don't know what to blog about. Who am I? Who exactly is my audience, and what am I writing for? And a lot of it just didn't make sense to me. And now in hindsight, like, I think I have a much clearer view that that is something. If you can do it, is something that should come later in the in your business. And I think you know as you can see, is what Maria's been kind of drawing out for us, is that it's probably not an upfront thing that you should be spending time on, because there are other things that are more important. So again, for some, it's almost, a little bit of a distraction, like, oh, I can kind of tweak my website endlessly, or I can design a logo. Yeah, those things they're fantastic and they're good to have in the long run, but initially it probably shouldn't be the focus. So,
Right,
again, it's kind of one of those things, you come around to it when you need to, but up front, it's probably not going to be the main focus.
right. And finally, when we talk about how to actually turn potential clients into real clients, again, we have three things that we need to consider. One is client interviews. And, you know, we really need to have a s- set of questions that we ask clients, right? And a lot of it is about being able to even price the project, understanding whether or not the project is a good fit for us, truly understanding what the client needs from us. All of those things, um, quite often clients don't think to communicate to us because they have a certain vision of what their project is and they think it's obvious, but it's actually not. Um, so that's one element. And the other element is if you ask the right questions, you look wicked smart and you really impress people with what you know just by asking the right questions, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, and again, this was something that I didn't understand starting out, but I thought in some way that asking a lot of questions, I don't know, made me look kind of weak or, inexperienced. And as Maria said, I found it's the complete opposite. When you ask the right questions, the client, I think it actually gives them confidence that you understand, or that you're trying to get a better understanding of what they're looking for, maybe what their processes are, what the project endpoints are, et cetera. So it's definitely not a downfall, in any ways. Even with my regular clients that I've been working with for years, I generally ask a lot of questions and they appreciate that, because the worst thing is kind of getting to the end of the project and realizing that you've missed the mark and you've spent all this time. So asking questions, again, upfront, and throughout the process, it's never a bad thing.
Right. The next thing that we really need to talk about is negotiation. And negotiation is really critical. And I'm about to get on a hobby horse here, but I think being able to name your own price, being able to think through what makes you the most productive and what makes it easy for you to produce the kind of work product you want to do is really important, because then that's how you get to that happy place of, doing really good work for clients that appreciate it. um, and and that's what we're really after. And otherwise, if we're not going to negotiate, if we're just going to say okay to whatever the client says, that's a recipe for an unhappy project, frankly. It may be
Yeah.
that what the client says is actually perfectly fine, but you actually need to do that thought process of whether or not it is.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of us think or maybe assume that when we talk about negotiation, it's only on pricing.
Right.
I've found, sometimes I need to negotiate on things like deadlines,
Hmm.
because I have, I work with multiple clients. So, we're spinning a lot of plates at times. So, maybe for me, it's more about, okay, the fee looks fine, but can we say bump out the due date by a couple of days, or, something like that. So, their negotiation can take many different forms. And again, starting out, I was really uncomfortable with this, but it's just something that you need to um, kind of work through. And again, it'll get better over time. But a lot of us just initially, you kind of don't know how to deal with it, because you haven't really needed to do it, say maybe in a traditional corporate setting.
Right. And sorry, I changed, but this is really the holy grail here. It's um, being able to move a client from a one-off to ongoing, and to an ongoing relationship. This is the thing that will change your business completely, because then you have revenue that is pretty steady. um, you don't have to spend as much time marketing and going through the lead generation. This is really how you build. a business that you're going to love.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. For example, when we've worked with other writers in the past, this is like the thing that I'm constantly harping on, because once you start to build a roster of steady repeat clients, this is when I think your business really grows. And you don't need a lot of them. I think that's maybe a misconception too, is that, oh, how many do I need? Are we talking 10, 15, 20? What is that? But I think in the line of work that we are in, a lot of times you can get into, some pretty high ticket, well paying projects. We're talking in the scale of like 5, 10, $15,000 projects here. So uh, you might only need a handful. For instance, I actually just ran through my numbers, kind of doing, well, end of the year, beginning of the year for numbers for 2020 to see, okay, what are my clients? Who are my top clients? I think it's a good way to sort of do an evaluation every year. Um, but the long and short of it is, I had three clients, I think, that really made up the bulk of my income for the year. So you might only be talking, say, 3 to 5 steady clients, and they're enough to get you to your income goals. And when you kind of get into this process, again, I said this earlier, clients want to work with writers that they know, like, and trust. And so when you start to, and when you meet all of those criteria, at, at least what I've seen is that the script kind of flips, and then they'll reach out to you for work instead of you reaching out to them. And again, it just makes everything easier. You're not spending the time doing the outreach constantly. Um, and often the client, they're very happy to reach out to you because they like your work and they like how you interact with them, etc. So this truly is, I think, one of the best things that you can do in your business. And it's very I wouldn't call it easy, but you definitely can get to this point quickly. And this is when your business will really just kind of blossom.
Right. And so this is it in a nutshell. This is, I hope you found this breakdown helpful. Really, this is what it takes to build a successful and sustainable medical writing business. Um, and if this is something that you'd like more help with, we're going to start a new coaching program soon. So just let us know and we'll get you all the details.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.